At one of the places I used to work, if you didn't have your name tag, they would say, well, just go grab another one. It doesn't matter what the name is, just put any old name tag on so you have a name tag. And the more I thought about that, the more I thought that is really counterproductive to, I think, some of the more nuanced reasons to have a name tag.
Tired of outdated systems holding your attraction back?
Gatemaster believes technology is part of the experience, transforming every touchpoint into an opportunity.
Imagine seamless online booking, effortless mobile ordering, and data-driven insights at your fingertips.
Ready to revolutionize your guest journey and maximize revenue?
Power your attraction with Gatemaster.
Discover the future at gatemaster.com.
Welcome to the Attraction Pros podcast, where we discuss the latest trends and challenges facing the attractions industry today.
We chat with some of the top leaders in the field and provide resources that will help develop your career in this great industry.
I am Josh Liebman. I am obsessed with the guest experience and helping attractions make that their top priority for success.
And I'm Matt Heller. I am passionate about organizational effectiveness, leadership development, and employee engagement.
Now sit upright, hold on tight, and get ready for the Attraction Pros podcast.
Hey, Josh, how are you?
Hey, Matt, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing fantastically.
All right.
Are you ready for our post 400th episode run? So our next 400 episodes?
We're going to record them all right now. They're going to be 1 minute long. That'd be a really good idea. We could totally do a 1 minute pod. No, you and I could not do a 1 minute podcast.
Well, it'd be done already.
It would be pretty close. Yeah. Anyway, we are all
I could do a 1 minute fantastic and that'd be it.
Yeah.
But we're not going to do that. But I do have a question. I do have a question for you.
Okay.
When was the last time you were in a role where you wore a name tag?
The last time I was in a role when I wore a name tag, I want to say like 2012.
That's that long ago. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, unless, and I think I know where this might be going, if I've visited a client and they put me in uniform and gave me a name tag, but I can't think of any specifics off the top of my head. I can think of some other times when I was visiting parks and I was in training and was like in full uniform and in name tag, but prior to 2012. So
Okay.
yeah, I'm going to go with that. Yeah.
Okay. And before that, I'm guessing in every role that you've probably had, frontline or supervisory, you've probably worn a name tag also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, do our attraction meetups count?
I'd say no. That's more of a
Okay.
name badge than a name tag.
All right, fine. Okay,
Like,
never mind.
because then you could include WWA and FAA and IAPA.
All right, fine. I tried.
And I appreciate the effort. I really do. I really do. But the reason I'm asking is because I actually recently wrote an article, but the article was inspired by the fact that I've been to a number of places that I've worked as a consultant and a coach where I've been given a name tag from that particular park. And first of all, it's very special to get that name tag, but it also really got me thinking about why we really have name tags for our team members and what the goal should be in terms of the process around how important those name tags are. And I'll give you a quick example. At one of the places I used to work, if you didn't have your name tag, they would say, well, just go grab another one. It doesn't matter what the name is, just put any old name tag on so you have a name tag. And the more I thought about that, the more I thought that is really counterproductive to, I think, some of the more nuanced reasons to have a name tag. So obviously one of the big reasons to have a name tag is so that people can know your name. They can, start a conversation. Many places have some sort of insignia on there, or your hometown or your favorite ride or something of that nature, favorite movie, whatever it is. There's something on there to start building a connection with the guest. But I was also thinking about this from the point of, and as an employee, you're wearing a name tag that's not only got your name on it, but it's got the name of the facility on it, name of your company. And to me, that can be a huge source of pride. I know that for the name tags that I wore over the years, it was a weighty responsibility, but I felt like I was representing the company. And it wasn't just the little piece of plastic that was indicating that, but it was how I was being treated and, the way that I was, kind of brought in through the industry or through the organization. And so I thought, to me, that name tag can really have a significant impact on team morale, on team pride, on team engagement. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on that because you're someone who's, like me, worn a name tag for a long time.
Yeah. So I agree with that as far as kind of the reasons why, one would wear a name tag. And actually, I recently was just going through a box of old stuff of mine last week, and I found like a whole bunch of ride photos, and I found a whole bunch of park maps, and I found, I think actually, many years worth of IAPA Expo badges. But I also found, I think almost every single name tag that I've had from, I've worked at multiple parks, just as you have as well. And, it's been a few years since either of us have actually worked in a park, at a park, employed by a park. Um, but I also think you bring up a really good point that I hadn't totally thought of or hadn't thought of why. I've also seen many times of the employee doesn't have a name tag, just go grab a spare to check the box that you are in uniform in name tag. The name doesn't actually matter. Well, what if that person provided an exemplary experience and that guest wrote an online review about that individual or sent in an email or called and said, you absolutely have to recognize, Nick, and I'm pointing at you, Matt, and and then they either recognize the wrong person or they say, that's not who that person actually was. I also think there's something even just thinking of like wearing a name tag that is not your name is like an identity shift unless you are playing a role, right? Unless like you are actually in character, and then that's a totally different story. But you are supposed to be yourself and connected, like you said, to the organization when wearing that name tag and having that unique, and I like when name tags include a unique personality trait of, like say your favorite movie or favorite animal in a zoo or something like that. Weston, I think, has my passion, and it's written right there on the name tag for every individual employee. So yeah, I think it goes far beyond checking the box of a uniform standard.
So I think it's really interesting you bring up the example of a team member that goes, above and beyond, and they provide some exemplary service, and then the wrong person is recognized. I think it can go the other way too,
Yeah, I
right?
was thinking that too. Yeah.
Josh is out there being rude to people, and his name tag says Nick, right? Fictitious Nick is now our scapegoat. But now Nick potentially gets a bad review, or people go to guest services and say, hey, Nick at Men in Black was really, really rude to me, right? And now maybe there is a Nick at Men in Black, but it was really you. And so now that gets to their supervisor, and now they have a conversation with Nick, and Nick is like, I wasn't even there. Like,
Right.
it wasn't me. So I think
Yeah.
there's a lot of nuance there just in terms of the proper identification of people. But I also think that there's probably more that every organization can do to show people just how important that name tag is. I know for some people it's like, oh, you go to wardrobe and they make your name tag and you hand it to them and boom, you put your name tag on, right? There could be maybe more of a presentation, like here's your name tag. Like this is something that's super important and you should think it's important and we think it's important. I know that for a lot of name tags I had, they got scratched and beat up and things like that because of my role and where I was, jumping into things and going behind rides and all these different things. And my name tag got, kind of messed up. And to me, honestly, for a while, I was like, well, that's a badge of honor because of all the those are my battle scars, right? At the same time, if I had somebody coming up to me and saying, Matt, your name badge really reflects you and it really reflects the company, we're going to make sure that you get a brand new one so it looks good when you're out there. Like, to me, that would be like, oh, like, okay, I got to take care of this name tag. It's really important. So again, it's a small piece of plastic with a magnet on it or a little pin, but I think the symbolism is much deeper than that if you allow it to be. And if you intentionally make this something that is something important to you and your organization and the team member.
And they allow for conversation starters with the guest as well. Like if it has your hometown specifically on it. A week ago, I was at Epic Universe and I saw someone wearing a name tag, and the city was listed as Cary, Ohio. That caught my attention because I looked at him and said, wait a second, is that a Horror Nights reference? And he goes, yes, it is. So it was a micro moment where I talk about personalizing the experience. I was the guest. I did this. And I personalized
Yes.
my own experience of seeking that commonality of I found the Easter egg in your name tag. And I know a lot of people used to want to have Hill Valley on their name tags at Universal, and they wouldn't let me, but I think that makes sense. But yes, so it ties in with the identity, your character, and your individuality and connection with the brand and the organization.
Absolutely. And if I were to add one last maybe tip for
Mm,
people who are in the market of procuring name tags for their teams, make it big enough to read
mm,
because I travel a lot, you travel a lot. I see a lot of people with name tags. People in airports have name tags. Sometimes they're so small, like you almost feel like you're being rude by trying to stare at their chest so you can see what their name is because it's so tiny, right? Now, I'm not saying it has to be a big Bozo the Clown name tag or hello, my name is for everything, but big enough that the guest can read it so that they can, like we've talked about, recognize that person when they've done something really great.
mhm. Yeah, absolutely. And I also know Clint Novak has me saved in his phone as Nick Iappa and has had that for many, many years. That's why I thought of the name Nick and being misidentified as someone. So that is my name tag in his phone, and I know he'll never change it. And you know what? I never want him to.
No, no. See, now that's part of the persona. That's part of the story
Exactly.
that you have there. So, Nick, thank you for taking the time to kind of dive into this whole concept of name tags. Some people may think it's a small thing, and physically it is, but again, I think there's an opportunity there to really create some pride and engagement with your team.
I agree, Mark. And as we wind this up here, just a reminder to everyone, we, regardless of your name, are all attraction pros.